the human element of it raises some questions. Would you consider looking at an automated system of empaneling judges at the Supreme Court? Thank you.
Yes, my lord.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Empaneling creates a lot of anxieties among people. There are lots and lots of people suspicions about for judge shopping, persons who are, some judges are not empaneled and other things. I think to get rid of such suspicions, we should be able to consider AI to do that. I am not very AI, but I know that those who know about AI tells me that if you are able to feed the computer or AI with information about judges, their philosophies and everything, the AI should be able to do empaneling based upon the thing that we have fed it with. And I think it is done elsewhere, so we can try it. But what actually goes into the used to go, I wouldn't be able to say for some time now what. But when I joined the bench, when I joined the Supreme Court bench, we were about 16. And then when at the Supreme Court, we know everything is based upon seniority. We have persons we refer to as seniors. Then we have the middle, and we define the juniors. There is no derogatory. None of the words is complimentary or derogatory. It only shows when a person was appointed. So I will be the most senior. It doesn't mean I'm the best. Somebody may be the most senior because he was appointed to the Supreme Court only yesterday. But that is how we have this classification. So any case, we have the seniors. So any case that we wanted to empanel, you will find one senior. Since we sit in panels of 5, we have a senior, we have 2 middle, and 2 juniors. And that makes a panel. And it was done randomly. There were situations where if we are sitting in 7 and we want to believe that this is a matter that we should get the seniors to sit on, then it is that can also be done. I remember in the 2013 election petition, the empaneling was done in such a way that the Chief Justice opted not to sit on it. Justice Tatiba had only 4 months to go on retirement. And since we were not too sure how long the whole trial was going to take, he opted out. Then it was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 2, up to number 9. So it wasn't like somebody had been handpicked from somewhere because of this particular reason or the other to do it. So empaneling is normally done randomly, or it follows certain patterns. But because of the anxiety it creates among people, the suspicions, or people feel it's not transparent, I think we should be able to consider AI empaneling. But in our part of the world where a person can decide not to sit just about 2 or 3 hours to time because the wife is being taken to the hospital or the father has just died. It means AI will find it difficult to replace such a person. Maybe AI should be told that, okay, instead of 5, set aside 6. So when somebody opts out, you can bring the 6th person in. So AI will be a very good thing for a panel. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Shaibu. Your very last question.
Yeah, exceedingly grateful. Exceedingly grateful, Chairman. I see my Lord has veered into AI. Can we apply AI again or any other method? Backlog of cases and then delays. What concrete steps and time-bound steps would you want to employ to deal with backlog of cases that are hanging and speedy trials? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think to tackle the backlog, to find a way of clearing the backlog, we must first identify what causes the backlog and then the delays. In the first place, litigation, courtroom litigation the volume has increased, whether we like it or not. Now, people litigate practically over everything. In the years gone by, I'm sure if you took my picture and you displayed it in your newspaper, and so I'll be very, very happy if somebody came and Daddy, I saw your picture somewhere. I mean, I will see it as even you promoting me. But I'm certain that if you displayed my picture in your anywhere else, maybe even in your house, and without my permission, I will sue you. So now people sue practically over everything. Intellectual property, and everything. So the courts are inundated. That is number one. We've tried to solve that problem by opening more courts. But the more courts that are open, the more the litigation comes up. Some time ago, we had courts up to Medina. From Medina, you could only go to another court on the mountains. Then we realized that we have to have a court at Adenta to take care of that enclave. Now, courts in Adenta have more cases than courts in the law court complex. The threshold for every court should be about 250 cases. At the last count, the High Court 1 in Adenta had 849 cases for one court. So the cases are many. There are more cases. So it doesn't matter how hard you work. You find you deal with one case and 2 more cases are added. Then we have situations which I will refer to as, institutional. CI 47 was actually passed in 2004. Those of us who were practicing using the older version of the rules, that was LN 140A, of 1948 or 1950, 1960, 1954, LN 140A of 1954. Between 1954 and 2004, when the new CI 47 came, lawyers were always referring to the White Book of London, of England, which had undergone several editions. But we still had our LN 140 of 1954. By the time we had the CI in 2004, CI 47, it was already dead at birth. It was outmoded at birth. So we have rules in the CI 47 which make it impossible for us to move forward. In this day and age of electronic e-service and everything, we still say that when a person issues a writ, it has to be served within 8 days. Now we have the Electronic Act, which makes it possible for you to do a service electronically. But the rules insist that as far as the originating process is concerned, it has to be served personally. So you, in this day and age of when everybody fears for his security, we still have bailiffs going around serving processes. So if we improved the rules, we have situations where applications that are filed, applications are filed and they stall proceedings in the lower, in the trial courts. All these are catered for by the rules. So if we are able to review the rules, and that is one of the things that I intend to do, to engage the Rules Committee, the Attorney General's Department, the Attorney General, not Attorney General's Department. I will be on his neck, and then I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to kill him. I'll be on his neck, and then with the Rules Committee, so that we should be able to amend the rules to make it user-friendly, to take care of the technicalities so that trials can be sped up. As for the cases that are already in the back, that have been clogged, what we can do is that we should be able to track. Now we have a monitoring team which I'm going to reinforce, that should be able, that goes about tracking backlog cases that are locked up, and then we will see what we should be able to do about it. This is not to say that there are no human elements in this. Lawyers play all kinds of games to have cases delayed. They play all kinds of games to have cases adjourned. I remember when I was appointed a Supreme Court judge, and we were attached to the American Supreme Court. They were surprised that we could grant adjournments on the ground of somebody's wife. And because a lawyer says, my wife is being taken to the hospital. The judge asked us, are you a doctor? If you are when your wife is going to deliver, you are the doctor, you don't need to be there. You have to come to court. And that,
Yeah, you better.
All right, lads, come on, big girl. Get up. Let's have it. All aboard the Betway bus.
Yeah, you better. Right, lads, we've got some questions to answer and some challenges to do. First up, if you had to go on a road trip with any celebrity, who would it be?
Robbie Williams, because he's quite funny. Denzel Washington, I think. He talks a lot of sense, you know.
Into this. But we are going to work on all this so that we can have a reduction in the backlog of cases. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, my Lord, the Acting Chief Justice and the nominee before us. We have 6 more members to ask you a question. Therefore, we will plead that the brevity rules that apply to members would apply to you, mutatis mutandis. So I will call on Honorable Haji Aladi to ask you a question.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, let me take the opportunity to congratulate my brother on his being nominated. From your narration, you have clearly stated that you've come a long way through so many governments, presidents, vice presidents, and what have you. That is actually a basket full of a lot of experience, and your CV tells it all. However, although you are acting, you are now going to be the substantive, inshallah. My question is, as Chief Justice, you will preside over a Supreme Court with diverse personalities and differing judicial philosophies. How will you foster collegiality and prevent personal disagreements from undermining the administration of justice? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Well, Honorable Chair, by its nature, the Supreme Court is collegial. When we say collegial, would be unlike the, let's say, district courts, the circuit court, and the high court. We sit in colleges, we sit in panels of more than one. So, and then we take decisions together. There is no, every judgment that is delivered that you read about, even though it comes under the hand of one judge, you can be sure that it has been decided by the panel members, unless there is a dissenting opinion. It is the opinion of the judges. So that is why we say it's collegial. We go into the college, we go to the conclave, and then we come up with decisions. You are right. I come from Gozo. The person who is now the president of the court comes from Navrungu. We have somebody from Wa. I went to the best secondary school in Ghana. Couldn't go to my secondary school. Somebody went to a one of us went to a school which is no longer even in existence. Sir Dennis went to a school which at the time was a mixed school. Now it's a girls' school. Achumamai Secondary School has now become a Fiakobi girls' secondary school. So he doesn't even know whether he's an old student or. So,
my Lord, he's still an old student. And the school is still in existence.
And then there is this Wa man who went to school at Koforidia, the town of the flowers. You see, so you're right. We come from different backgrounds, different schools, different philosophies. Some of us, a couple of us, about 3 or 4 of us, started from two of us started from the magistrates. Her Ladyship, Alfred Lovell Johnson, started from grade 2. Sergeant Abefe started from the regional tribunal. So both below the circuit court where I started. And then there were some of us who joined at the Court of Appeal, like I said, Dennis. Justice Boaman joined at the Supreme Court. Justice Yodi Kulendis joined at the Supreme Court. We have persons who have come from the academia, like Professor Mensabus. So we have different philosophies. This is the Supreme Court. And so when you have all these people with different backgrounds having to come together and then agree on something, even with all due respect, you see how lawyers agree or disagree. The little that we saw from the Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Minority Leader, and Honorable Majority Leader, 3 very able lawyers agreed or disagreed on the rules, the standing orders. It shows that we have to come from different backgrounds. We have different approaches to things. It could be our strength, but it could be a weakness. As a Chief Justice, your ability to harness all these into something concrete, that is what leadership is about. That is what you should, if you are able to do this, and you should be able to discuss things formally and informally before things escalate. You should be able to do this. Even empaneling can create problems among you. When somebody feels that this man is not being empaneled, I wasn't empaneled for close to 1 year, even though I was the number 2 after the Chief Justice, I wasn't empaneled. It can create problems. But as a leader, you should be able to manage all this. And then you should be able to manage all this. And even though I'm talking about collegiality and then the need to have a consensus, that should not be the final thing. You should be able to encourage parties, judges, to air their views. Dissent should be encouraged. It is always better to have a consensus on everything. But if you can't have a consensus, you should be able to, if somebody says, I'm going to write a dissenting opinion, you should be able to write a dissenting opinion. You should be able to encourage the person to write a dissenting opinion. It is a way of fostering unity amongst yourselves. And fortunately, again, having been here for so long and having been here, having dealt with all the members of the Supreme Court bench now, I happen to have personal relationship with every one of them. Every one of them. Those who used to appear before me when I was a High Court judge, like Justice Yodi Kulendis, Justice Boaman, they used to appear before me when I was a High Court judge. Justice Dennis used to appear before me when I was a Circuit Court judge. He was a lawyer in Kumasi. And then Justice Ajay Frupong was a junior to my very, 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 very good friend called Otuesa, who was Strasbourg. So when I was even sitting as a High Court judge in Kumasi, he was appearing before me. So I have this relationship with all these judges. That makes it easier for me to be able to bring them all together. So I won't be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Hajaladi. You have a further question?
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
Please do.
Mr. Chairman, there is a very big issue that is worrying a lot of us when it comes to getting maybe people who are brought before the courts so that the judges can handle them very fast. Cases are not taken up very fast. So because of that, you find our prisons choked with a lot of people, some even just because they have stolen a bunch of banana on remand. You simply can't understand. And if you look at them, when people show you such pictures, it's horrifying. Will you consider ensuring that we have at least these community courts, the tribunals, working very seriously, and you applying the 24-hour economy as you have said earlier on, so that such people can be given community kind of punishment just to deter them, rather than pushing everybody to the prisons. Because recently, just 3 days ago, I got a message that someone went to court and then was told that the judge had put to bed, so she was not in court. Now, when is she going to come out, let alone to look at it? And I don't know whether it will be passed on to another judge or that case has to wait. So will you consider ensuring that the tribunals come up basically at all the best places that you can think of, so that such cases would be handled or fast-tracked? Thank you.
Yes, my lord, your response.
It looks like you are speaking the language of my wife. My wife has maybe engaged you to ask questions about the prison service. This is something that I know about, because as I said, I was a prison officer, and since my wife is also there, I know. For example, I am told that the inmate situation in some prisons was built, the capacity for some prisons is 851. As of today, they are 3,562. A variance of 2,711. Kumasi male prisons was built for 416 persons. As of today, they are 1,727. And this is replicated all over. The prisons are choked. The prisons are choked. Remand prisoners, I mean, it is a bother. And one of the causes of the prisons getting choked is people being remanded, and sometimes indiscriminately. That is why, and then there are also some, as you said, who have committed minor offenses, who shouldn't be there, but they are there. So I think that it was particularly for these minor offenders that the Justice for All program was introduced. And for some time now, maybe because of the turbulence, this year they have not actually even sat. it is something that I want to reignite, revamp it, so that we can have the justice for all back on the road, so that we can get rid of some of these persons. But apart from saying this, I also want to say that, Honorable, there are some people in the prisons who have been granted bail, actually. They have been granted bail, but they are still there because they can't meet the bail conditions. And not that the bail conditions are too high. Sometimes they are too high. But in most cases, they are not. In so many cases, they are not. And so you find somebody in prison, somebody on remand, who has been on remand for 5 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and those of us outside will say, hey, if this man had even pleaded guilty and he has been convicted, he would have spent only 3 years. But because he pleaded not guilty, he is on remand, and his case is not being tried, he has spent 5 years. But that is not the fault of the judge. If you appear before the judge and you say you are not guilty, you are not guilty. The judge says you are released on bail. But there are some people, unless you say they should sign their own bail bond, they can't get anyone to come and bail them. Unless you release them on their own self-recognizance, they will not get anyone to come and bail them. I mean, there are some of them, and as a judge, we have conditions to grant bail. The main condition a judge looks at is, this man I'm releasing on bail, is he likely to come and stand trial? The person who is making efforts to run away because he has gone to see some foreign embassies to seek asylum, he's trying to run away already. The man has been granted bail once and he didn't appear. And so if a judge decides that, no, a person like that, I'm not going to grant you bail, it doesn't matter the offense that the person has committed. The judge may not grant bail, but even if the judge wants to grant bail, he will not give you bail on. We are always talking about a bunch of plantains, a crate of eggs. My mother is a Catholic, was a Catholic. I always tell this story. My mother was a Catholic. But you know, these old ladies, how when they said, in my time, the Catholic priest was a white person. So at the end of the year, my mother wants to go and then harvest a particular plantain that he has nurtured over the year. My mother was going to the farm every morning with a bent back. This young man was sitting under the shady tree. In our place, we call it Convenience, playing drafts. Every day, my mother passed by him to go to the farm. Now, 1 year on, it is time for harvest. My mother wants to go and harvest the plantain to come and give to the Reverend Minister, the white priest, who speaks Latin. And then this young man has gone there. And you know, when they go there, they don't cut the plantain. They remove it from the top. So my mother will walk all the way to the place before realizing that the plantain has been harvested. We sit in Accra here. When a magistrate at court decides to send the boy to prison for 3 years, we sit in Accra here and say the man stole only a bunch of plantains. Do you know what it means to, what the bunch of plantain means to my mother? It's like stealing your car. You see? So, I mean, there are so many reasons. The magistrates and the judge, they are trained. They have this, the sentencing guidelines. They have them. But sometimes they have to go beyond that. In my youthful days, I gave somebody 70 years. Atai, I gave him 70 years. And what I told myself was that if Atai was given 30 years and he comes back, my family will be the first one he will attack. So by the time he comes back after 70 years, I'll be dead and gone. So you see, then we are thinking about community service. Yes, there are some people who, if you give 3 years, 4 years, I mean, touch wood, if I am convicted and sentenced to 4 years in prison at Insawam, I may not eat prison food for even a day. I will have some people bring food to me. So if you want to make me feel the prison punishment, prison sentence, then maybe you should order me to go and do community service. Maybe around the place where I stole, or around the courts, that they'll see me, because punishments are not only for the person, the victim, or the person being punished, but to deter other people. So community sentences should be introduced. But that one is in your bosom. It's a law that one will have to be taken up by you. Another way of decongesting the prisons is through the parole system. People should be able to go out on parole for exhibiting good conduct or whatever. So if the parole system is introduced, I'm certain we can reduce the numbers in the prisons considerably. But parole system, you cannot do that without tackling the social welfare angle of the parole system. You have to beef up, because I know in some jurisdictions, when a parolee or a person who has been granted parole may not even be able to go beyond a certain distance, because he has a tag that gives AI alarm to somebody. We don't even have these things here. So, Honorable, we are at it. We will play our part by reducing our pension for imprisoning people. We will curb that pension of giving long sentences. I will talk to my people, because in a long sentence person said to my wife, I get a knock. You allow these people to come here, and they are disturbing me. So, Honorable, that is what we are going to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ladi, do you have a supplementary question, or you want to ask your last question?
Thank you, Chairman. I want to ask my last question.
Thank you very much. Proceed to answer your last question.
Mr. Nominee, during your presentation, you mentioned places where we can find courts of appeal. Unfortunately, I sat really feeling very bad, because I would say I come from the northern sector, and I have continuously heard my people crying when they have any case that needs to go to the appeal courts. They would have to travel as far as to either Kumasi or Accra. I have listened to you carefully and heard you talk about infrastructure and the way monies have to be spent, which is quite a difficult one. Will you consider putting up at least one with all the amenities that are needed to take care of the 5 regions of the north, to ease problems of our people having to travel these distances.
Yes.
Honorable Chair, Honorable Chair, well, it is possible, it is feasible. We have done it before. We have done it before. You see, I know how sentimental people feel about such things. When I started acting, I got a letter from a community, and they said they wanted, it was written so beautifully, they wanted a district court. So I gave it to the court's services manager to advise me. And you know what? He came up with the fact that the committee they are talking about, they are 500 people. 500 people. And then he mentioned the various courts that are close by. And we found that almost all those courts have cases no more than 10 a day. Sometimes the whole week. It is not, when we tried the Court of Appeal in Tamale, we realized that all the cases could be heard within a matter of 2 months. All the cases. So it is just not feasible having 5 judges stationed at Tamale to take care of the north. This is not just because the number of cases that come from the various regions put together is not up to much. So to prevent this situation where lawyers and parties will be coming to Kumasi or Accra, that is why we are introducing the virtual, so that they will be meeting in Tamale. The lawyers don't need to, with virtual hearing, the lawyers don't need to move at all. They have to be in Tamale. So, as I said, if you have a case which is being handled by a lawyer from Kumasi, for now, the lawyer will have to travel to Tamale to go and be in the Tamale courtroom where the virtual takes place. But as I said, we are working at it. In a matter of time, we have found ourselves in a situation where some of the parties and the lawyers can be in Tamale courtroom, whilst some other lawyers will be in Kumasi and they will be hearing cases. This is done. When international arbitration takes place, people hardly travel from here to London for international arbitration. They do virtual hearing. So that is what, if it becomes necessary for us to station judges permanently in Tamale like we have done in Kumasi, we will do that. But Honorable, you have to help us get accommodation for them.
Thank you, Honorable Ade. You have exhausted your 3 questions. On this note, honorable members, our revered guests, it is in the interest of all of us to take 20 minutes health break. Well, Hajia, you have the floor for 1 second.
Thank you very much, Chairman. So, my brother, I wish you all the best. When my colleagues were leaving, you would have heard them. It's normal of me to say, I wish you all the best. May the Almighty Allah guide and protect you so that you will be able to do your work as expected and to the best of your knowledge and to the development and progress of Ghana. Have a blessed job ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We shall resume our seats exactly 10 minutes after 5 o'clock.